as always, Brian Joyner, joined by Ben.
That's me. What's
That's
going on,
right.
everybody? What a lead in there.
Yeah. Today, I think we're going to start off. So, typically, this is a fantasy basketball podcast, and we try to kind of stick to that. But um, Ben and I are very big just basketball fans in general, and in
Yep.
particular, we are giant Dallas Mavericks fans. And we'd be a little bit remiss to not talk about the huge news that I have been waiting for and hoping for for a while now.
At least nine
Um,
months, right?
yeah, at least 9 months, at least. Um, but yeah, so I think we're going to dive into a little bit of Maverick talk for a little bit of this podcast, and then we'll go into more of the fantasy, cop drop shop uh, type type stuff. And that's a new segment that Ben came up with, what I'm
Oh
excited
man,
excited
what
to
a
dive
genius!
into. Yeah, what a genius.
Must have been during the food poisoning last week. It just came to me, and nothing else to think about.
Yeah, just
Then
laying in
try
bed,
not to
just
die.
trying not to throw your brains up.
It was a weird week. It was a we did our show, had food poisoning, then left for Mexico. Just got back, and here we are again.
Did you
So
drink?
it's been a good week.
You didn't drink the water, did you?
I did, unfortunately, but
Oof.
it's tequila, so it's okay.
Same thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
fire. What are they call fire water down there?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I mean, I was obviously on the beach when the news came out, but
Mm.
pretty surprising that they did it then, but at the same time, not so much to finally get rid of Nico.
Yeah, I think it was time. A lot of people are like, "Well, it's not fair. He hasn't seen the team. Nobody's seen the team together fully." And to me, that's the issue. Is that is that you built this team who you saw. I mean, the team was healthy for the first 3 or 4 games and looked horrible then.
Yeah,
So like, you've been out without Lively and without AD for I don't know half the season now, and you've been terrible, but you weren't better before that.
hmm,
So I don't know, and that it's just you knew that going into it is that Davis is gonna be hurt,
yeah,
and you traded a guy you had issues with injuries, and that was your big stickler was that he gets hurt all the time for a guy that gets hurt all the time, and
yeah,
so um,
yeah.
and
Or a guy that's out of shape. What's like, well, yeah, but at least the guy that's out of shape is playing. Like he
yeah,
missed
right.
he missed some games, sure, but not nearly as much as Anthony Davis misses.
No, and Anthony Davis will miss games, and it's like his big toe hurts, where it seemed like Doncic would come out in a cast and then have to be unwrapped like a mummy, and
Uh
then he would go on the floor and give you a triple double, a 40-point triple double, and it's like, I get he's hurt, but like he's producing still, so
Yeah,
at
yeah.
least.
And I mean, I think that it wasn't really the last straw at that point because it's really the big straw, obviously. But I think at that point, you kind of lose the trust and you don't have as much runway if things, start to go south as much as you might if, you know, it's not that blockbuster of a trade or, I mean, because he's made some other questionable moves throughout his whole time here in Dallas. And, he should get some credit for a couple of the key moves that got us to the finals last year and or the year before that, where you bring in a PJ and you bring in Gafford, and those have been largely successful. And obviously drafting Lively and grabbing Kyrie when nobody really wanted him, and so there's been some good moves too. But I think you kind of look at those, and then you look at some of the other smaller, not so good moves, and you can't really see past obviously the big one. Like, unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be able to come back from that. There's no, at least in any sort of GM role or talent evaluation sort of thing. Like, that's, you can't really come back.
The thing about Nico is that he was never about the future of this team, and as a GM, you would, I understand wanting to go all in on a season or two or three or something like that, like he wanted to, but at what cost? Like you were gonna have 3 seasons of Kyrie and AD, and then they're gonna be in their upper 30s, ready to
Hmm.
retire, and you have absolutely no draft capital. And what are you gonna do? Like, I don't know what his plan was past the 3 years. Now his contract was up in 3 years.
Right.
So a lot of me was thinking like he just joined the Mavs, wanted to have a kick, like had a good time, made a bunch of deals, and one of the most. I mean, I feel like he's one of the most active GMs I've ever seen. Just like every year, it seemed like he was always making moves and doing things, and every summer he was trading this guy and that guy. And then he was just going to be done at the end of the 3 years. He's just going to be like,
Yeah.
maybe I won, maybe I didn't, and then move on. Now I don't know that that's the case, but it just seemed that way. It seemed like everything he said past the Luka trade was always
hmm
like, well, it's a 3 year window. Well,
hmm
why would you say that if it lines up exactly with when your contract is over?
Yeah, and especially considering Luke is always going to give you a 3-year window, regardless of who's
Oh,
on
right.
his team. And we saw that for several years before that. Of doesn't matter who's on the team, you're gonna get to the playoffs whether he's in a cast or not. So,
Yeah, yeah. I just think he had very. I mean, I don't want to say this about people, but he had very narcissistic tendencies
hmm
where he felt like he was running the team. It was his way or the highway, and that's the only way that he wanted to do it. And then once Luca was like not playing his games, and you ship him off immediately for not a
hmm
great return, and I don't know, it's bad all around, and I'm happy that Dallas has moved on. I'm really kind of proud of the fans because typically fans will just kind of like, hey, I'll just throw money at this team because I like it and I'm going to go to these games just because,
hmm
support the team. But they really stood up and it was kind of cool to see.
yeah. I mean, how often do you see that where obviously people are complaining all the time, but to that level where they're outside the stadium hosting a funeral and
Yeah.
every single game chanting, and I don't think I've seen it, at least in obviously so up close and personal around the city, but just in any sport that the fans create that much chaos to where action gets taken. Like maybe a select few times, but
Yeah.
nothing
I
to this
mean,
scale.
you have the Clippers situation with their owner, but that was
Yeah,
like, but even then, in that scenario, was like player focused, where the players went out there and took a
yeah,
stand and they took their jerseys off or whatever they did, the cover
hmm
ups or whatever.
yeah,
Um, but even then, that wasn't fan led, and so the fans just completely turned on this guy, and they even away games.
yeah,
Even at away games, you had these Mavs fans who would go pay tickets and pay money to go to these games and just to boo Nico and let
yeah,
everybody know that they're upset with what's happening here.
yeah. At least to the degree where you're dealing with getting somebody out of a very high spot in a franchise. Like I can
Yeah.
think of when they. I don't know if it was so much fan driven as much, but when Stern overturned the Chris Paul to the Lakers deal, like
Mm.
that's kind of felt similar to that to me, but not even the same just because you're dealing with fans and a player versus kind of how Stern just kind of did it on his own.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And just I don't know. I just feel like it was never going to get better, and I feel bad for the players. Like I know PJ yells at the fans last year. Kind of telling them to shut up and stuff, and like I feel for them, and
hmm
I hope that they don't look at it like, oh, the fans hate us, and more of like this is like one of the most passionate fan bases that we have in the NBA, and a lot of players who come to the Mavs always say that even before this.
hmm
They're always like, wow, I didn't know. Like they almost
Yeah.
don't know that the fan base is so behind this team,
Yeah.
and I think we just proved it even more that like we're not going to stand for we're with you for the good, and we're not going to stand for the bad.
Yeah. Which is true. I mean, since I've been a Mavs fan, which was more like 2004-ish,
Hmm.
they had obviously some pretty rough years in the 90s and before then, but I think since then, since at least since I've been a fan, it was pretty consistent every year that it was playoffs pretty much every year, minus a select few.
Hmm.
And the years that they were down, it was either because somebody was injured or, it wasn't for lack of effort on the Mavs part to, even if they got to be in the 8th seed at that time, it was like, hey, that's what we're shooting for every year. I forget how
Yeah.
many years in a row it was, but that was the standard. And so I think that standard stuck and still continues, even though, the last couple years we've had a couple down years, but I think
Yeah.
that's kind of how the fans standard has grown at least the last 2 decades of, we want to compete every year. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
care what it takes. Like pay whatever money you need to pay or go bring in guys and get rid of guys. And, obviously we had a run where we weren't getting free agents for a while in the early 2010s and nobody seemed to want to come to Dallas. But since Luka's been here, that kind of changed.
Yeah, yeah, and I just think that the Mavs have always had somebody to like hold the standard.
Hmm.
I mean, Cuban was a big figurehead, and like he was going to pay whatever it needed to have a competitive team on the floor.
Yeah.
But then you had players, you had Dirk and who 21 seasons did not expect anything less than to compete for at least the playoffs. Probably, I mean, he's realistic, but he thinks he's going to win the championship probably every year. But like realistically, he knew he wanted to be in the playoffs, compete. And then you have him pass the torch to Luca, who every year thought he was going to win the championship. I mean, he was giving you everything that he had
Yeah.
with scraps. I mean, he had Boban as a starter for like Dwight Powell was a starter for like 4 or 5 years. Like,
Yeah.
we watched him play with Salah Mejri, who people don't even know. Like, and he's going to the playoffs. He's winning series with these
Yeah.
guys, and so like you had him, and then now you trade him away, but you had still on this roster, and we'll kind of go into what the next moves are for this team.
Hmm.
You have to keep Kyrie because he's that guy now. He
Yeah.
expects to compete, and with him, I think you can still be competitive. I don't know
Yeah.
about this. Hopefully not this season. I hope this season they kind of ride it out and see what fully commit to Cooper Flag,
Hmm.
and just let him shoot the ball as many times. Be as inefficient as you want to be. I don't care.
Yeah.
You're the
Yeah.
youngest kid in the NBA. You are not even being that we know you're going to make the right play, but like
Hmm.
just let the reins off. We don't care. Shoot the ball. Shoot 20% from three. We don't care. You're going to get better, hopefully, and hopefully you don't shoot that. But you know, I think that of that you need to keep Kyrie on this team, and I think you need to move on from AD. I don't think that he's going to be a benefit to this team.
Yeah, I think I agree with you because Kyrie is that guy, like you said, that, and you want players around them that are committed to that development as well. That say like, hey, look, we're here for the next couple of years. We want to build a winning culture here again, and we don't have that right now. But let's get rid of the guys that I get what Nico was saying in that we want guys that are going to feed into this culture and are going to play on both ends of the floor and this and that. But it's you don't get rid of your best player to do that. So which guys do we have now that we will keep and are planning to, be around for the next couple of years to when Kyrie's back healthy later this year and maybe we can get some pieces with Anthony Davis shipped out this year. Maybe we get a couple picks for next year and a couple role players that we need, like I think that's the mentality that's going to be successful for this year and develop Cooper
Yeah,
a lot better for the next year or the years after that then he can become that guy once Kyrie's had his 3 or 4 years.
for sure, for sure. And I think Nico. I want to give him credit. I think the defense win championships thing is laughed at a little bit. I think he just did it the wrong way. I don't think defense the way he built the team, where we have three centers, even if they were healthy, I don't think that went. That's not how the league is anymore. You just don't have that. Defense wins championships is more of like OKC, where they have
Mm-hmm.
four just lockdown perimeter defenders
Mm-hmm.
who can switch and move on to bigger guys. But that's how you stop teams. You cannot just give up 53s a game
Yeah.
unless you're going to match it, which they just don't have the volume shooters to match it.
Yeah, you got to have a little both because they got Chet and Hardenstein in there to
Right.
protect the rim. But so I get that, but you also have to have the 6'6" to 6'8" wings that are going to guard their best player, and you got to have a couple defensive minded guards that are going to stop these guys. And we have elements of that, but we don't have everything that we need in order to compete. So
Oh, for sure.
so I guess, like you said, the question is, what do we do moving forward? And it seems like we're thinking, okay, Anthony Davis has got to go.
I
He
mean,
just got here.
does he? Do you think he needs to go? Do you think he's got to be out of here?
I wouldn't say I think he needs to be, but if we're trying to change anything roster wise, I don't. I mean, who else are we going to get rid of? Is my question. Obviously, we're not getting rid of Cooper Flag.
Right.
Um,
I
so
mean,
I don't see anybody else that brings in enough value unless it's Kyrie, which wouldn't make so much sense to me because I think he'd be a better fit with Cooper when he's back.
and a lot of people are throwing around Daniel Gafford's name. Personally, I mean, unless you're going to get like a first and something back maybe, I'm not even touching him. I just think that you need him so badly because
Hmm.
Lively, as much as he's got great potential and whatever, he doesn't he doesn't stay on the floor injury
Hmm.
wise, but even when he's not injured, he's not on the floor foul wise. He fouls so much. And it's
Yeah.
like you have to have Gafford to play 30 minutes a game because Derek Lively can't play more than 25 because he just fouls so much. So you need to have him, and behind him is Powell and I guess Cisse, but Cisse is on a two-way contract and he
Hmm.
can only play 50 games, so
Yeah.
you can't really rely on him. So it's like I get the idea that like Gafford is the most movable piece and teams really like Gafford,
Hmm.
but there's a reason why they like him is because he's a starting
Yeah.
caliber center that you have on your bench
Yeah.
and you need him.
Yeah. And I've always felt that way about him. I obviously being on the Wizards, he didn't have the best team around him, but you could see flashes of where he has that potential, and you've seen that here in Dallas as well. And I always I always kind of leaned him over Lively, just starting him and playing him 30 minutes a game because, sorry, my dog's going crazy. Hey, because I think 30 minutes a game of Gafford is he's going to attack the boards. He's going to play pretty decent defense. He might only get you 10, 12 points, but realistically, you've got other scorers that are going to fill in to where that's really all you need from him is a solid defender and rebounder.
Yeah, I mean, between the two of them, how much are you losing from Lively to Gafford? I don't think you lose anything really. I mean, like they're like, oh well, he's 22. Lively's 22. Gafford's I think like 27. So like age wise, I get it. Gafford is what he is, and he'll always
Hmm.
be that. And
Yeah.
Lively has this potential to be a 3-point shooter. But I don't know if you saw him shoot 3-pointers in the preseason, but he's clanking them off the glass. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. I mean,
it's not there. Anybody, and, they have a video of I think it's Hardenstein and playing in the off season, and he's like
mm,
hitting step back threes and stuff. And like, there's this video obviously of Lively before the draft where he's hitting like 12 threes in a row from the corner.
mm,
Anybody, these are pros. They they all can. Steven Adams can shoot threes. Like
yeah.
these guys are when they're in their own element and they're working out and they're by themselves, they all can hit threes. It's like he's not showing that he can hit anything.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of part of it too. Is yeah, anybody has potential or has the ability to develop a certain skill, especially at these caliber athletes. But if you're not seeing it too much now, and it's not even that I really want Derek Lively shooting a lot of threes because realistically, I just want a center that's defensively minded, who's a good pick and roll guy, and who doesn't foul a lot and he's consistent, right?
Right.
Because we don't at least we don't have that caliber center other than Anthony Davis when he's healthy to be your go-to scorer if you need him to be. So from these types of players, it's more of just a pick and roll guy, rebounder that's consistent and is going to be available. And Lively hasn't really proven all of those to me. At least he hasn't put it all together to where that's kind of what you get from him. Whereas Gafford, I feel like he's been given a little bit more opportunity to show that because he's been available, and that's a big asset for him. But we're not asking him to shoot threes because we don't need him to.
Right.
We're supposed to have other guys like Clay and people that we bring in to do that for us. So
Mm-hmm.
I think he always seemed like a better fit to me, especially with Kyrie or Luca, to where obviously Lively's a great pick and roll guy as well. But if you already have somebody in that role, that I never really liked having both of them, other than for the reasons you pointed out of Lively's always in foul trouble or one of them is always hurt. So we need one of them to be around.
Oh, for sure. Um, and I think Anthony Davis is great. I just don't think that having a post scorer is that critical anymore. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like teams are just going if your best player is a post scorer or a mid range guy or whatever, and they're just going to eat you up with the fact that okay, you shoot whatever 50%, 60% from twos, but we're
Mm-hmm.
going to shoot 40% from threes, and we're going to
Yeah.
shoot more threes than you shoot the two,
Yeah.
and we're going to win. Like,
Yeah.
and that's what teams are doing to the Mavs. It's just they're killing them with that. And
Yeah.
I don't know. But kind of focusing on Anthony Davis, if the Mavs are to move him, well, you talked about Klay Thompson. He's definitely out. He's not sticking
Yeah.
around. Max Christie has surpassed him leaps and bounds, and so I think Klay Thompson, he might be traded by a couple weeks from now. He might go to who knows where, but
It's possible. I mean,
I think
I'm
he's out
pretty
of
sure
here.
he just bought a house out here, is
I,
what I saw. But
I you know, these NBA players, they got enough
yeah. Oh,
to
yeah.
sell their
Well, and
house and move to
they
the
want to
Bucks.
have a house here, so they don't have the income tax anyway. So, I mean,
Yeah, right.
I get it. He'll be fine. But
Yeah, it'll be okay.
yeah, I could see him maybe making a move. But I think realistically, like you said, if they're going to do anything drastic or try to bring in talent at least right away, or get some first round picks, it's probably going to be Davis.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know who's potentially interested in that, considering his health issues and his age and kind of all the stuff we've been dealing with him. But I mean, what do you think realistically could happen with that?
Well, I've kind of been scrolling Twitter for a while, in the past couple of days, and there have been a few teams that have been brought up, and these trades are a bit ridiculous, but some of them kind of outline something that we could do.
Okay, let's go to this dangerous dark place,
Yeah,
the dark web.
all right, so we'll do that.
Oh man, the pretenders, the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, so first on this list, Chicago. So Anthony Davis is from Chicago. I think we know this.
Yes.
Um, so this particular mock trade is Dallas receives Vooch, White, Smith, first this year and a first in 2030 for Davis. And I mean, I'm kind of in on this. I think you have to have Vooch in it because of the contract.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these trades send a big back to Dallas,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't like that because we don't
Yeah.
need. We would then have 4 centers on the roster, and we don't need that unless you're going to add Gafford to this deal. I don't see why you would
Yeah.
need another big in this, but I love Kobe White. I think Kobe White would be a great fit here. He's young. He's 25, I think. So he fits the youth movement kind of thing. And he's 6'5", 6'6", good defender. I like his fit in Dallas, though.
I almost thought that we were going to sign him in the offseason or try to trade for him. I've
Yeah.
seen his name in rumors for us recently, so it would make sense that he could
It would
make
have.
that move with Giddey getting the contract he did. But, I mean,
Well,
do you really
yeah.
think the Bulls would be improved by doing that?
I mean, Anthony Davis is better than Vooch, so you're plugging him in, and you're already better defensively for sure, which they need help defensively.
They do. Yeah, I mean, as we talked about last week.
Yeah, right. And so I think that automatically they become better, and then you don't have this logjam of guards that they have, where they're going to
Yeah.
figure out, they have Ayo Dosunmu, and they got
Yeah,
obviously
Trey
Sam
Jones
Giddey and Trey Jones and these guys, which could free up minutes there and kind of make
Mhm.
rotation smoother.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately you're getting a all-pro center. I mean, this Anthony Davis is not we're not trying to sit here and say that Anthony Davis is a bad player. We just don't think he fits the Mavs and what the roster that they have together right now.
Yeah, and I think we're always saying that from the moment we got the notification at 11 p.m.
For sure. And even if
What?
even when Cooper Flag, when you
Yeah.
draft Cooper Flag, you move on. Cooper Flag was a decent 3-point shooter in college. Wasn't spectacular. I mean, he was 38%, but that's
Yeah.
pretty good. But at Duke, he had a bunch of shooters and a center.
Yeah.
And so that's what he didn't deal with, packing the paint. And so he can't drive. And now, actually, it's funny, we're talking about this. Now that Anthony Davis and Lively are out right now, the floor is spaced out. He almost carried him past Milwaukee 2 nights ago.
Mhm.
So it's interesting to see, once you spread the floor out and give him space, he is a good finisher in the mid-range and at the basket right now. That's where he eats, and hopefully he can improve 3-point shooting. But
Yeah.
I think you need to space the floor out more than they are.
Yeah, I agree. and I wouldn't mind doing that deal because I would like to have White, and I think Vooch probably isn't a long term answer either. But if we save some contract, you get White, you get some firsts. Not all too bad of a haul.
No, and it's not at all. And I'm trying to look right now to see if I want to say Vooch is towards the end of his contract, but I'm not particularly sure.
I think it was only a couple years ago, but I think it was like a 4-year deal. So he may be in the next couple of years, but I don't remember it being probably around 20 to 30 million, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so it's like 4 years or so. So he's kind of approaching that deal being up, and so you can have some wiggle room if he leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well,
I think the
keep
main
scrolling there. What
yeah,
else? What else is on here?
for sure,
I
for
saw
sure.
Hornets.
Yeah, so we got the Hornets, we got Miles Bridges, Colin Sexton, and 3 future firsts,
Hmm.
including, and this is the big one, including the Mavs 2027 first. Which,
Oh, okay.
if you're going to make a trade with the Hornets, you've got to get your first pick back.
Yeah.
Plus, I feel like you've got to get yours back for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't really particularly think that they gain much from this.
Yeah.
Trade pivot.
I don't see Charlotte making that move
No,
particularly.
no, I don't think that it fits what they want to do either. So I think they're getting ready to do their own big time rebuild, but
Mm-hmm.
they're not in the middle of it right now. So we have Detroit, which is Tobias Harris, Levert, Ivy, future firsts for Davis. I think a Davis, Cade Cunningham backcourt is pretty good, but
I don't think they'll ever do that. I mean, unless they hire Nico here pretty shortly.
I don't know. I mean, then again, you have the same issue where Cade's a go to drive to the basket type player. I mean, he shoots well too, but like
Yeah.
what he does is attacking the glass and attacking the basket, and you have a I don't know not a floor spacer. What's the opposite of a floor spacer? Like
Floor clogger.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's sitting in the middle, and I don't know how well that fits, but
Yeah.
um,
I wouldn't be as interested in that one.
right. And this one's kind of off topic, but they're talking about if Kyrie were to be moved. This is horrible. I don't like this at all. I don't like Fred VanVleet. You're trading a guy that tore his ACL for another guy that tore his ACL. So like,
Mm-hmm.
and a guy that tore his ACL fresher
Sooner,
than you.
yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna get Kyrie before you get him back, and I'm pretty sure they're kind of the same age.
Yeah,
So
they're pretty close. I mean,
you're
Fred's a
basically
little less, but not that much.
and Dodo's hurt. So like
Yeah.
you're trading Kyrie for two guys that are hurt. No, I'm not a fan of this.
Yeah. No picks
I'm not
either.
a fan of
No
moving
thanks.
him at all, really. But like, really not a fan of that.
Yeah.
This is a mess. This is just
Just
a bunch
trying
of
to undo it, except no Luca.
no Luca. If you're gonna make a trade with with the Lakers, which is just never gonna happen, Reeves better be in the deal
Yeah.
because this is stupid. This is so bad because
Yeah.
it's Rui, Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleba, Dalton Connect, and then first in 2032. That should be ours anyway.
Jeez.
Um,
Yeah, for real. I mean, you see the success at the top there. Clearly, this is a Lakers person.
yeah, this is crazy. This is
Success. We offloaded this garbage.
right. So then we have the trades down here. So it's let's open this up. Jeremy Grant,
Oh, boy.
Bible, Sharp, first in 27, first in 28 via Milwaukee, and then a second round pick, which I don't really value second round picks that much for Davis.
It's not terrible. I mean, the picks are nice. Shaden Sharp's still young. He's very inefficient, but if you're looking for a guy that may develop into more of a scoring option, maybe. But
Yeah.
the other two, not interested.
Didn't they just sign Grant to another big deal?
I don't think recently. I mean, he's 3 years, 32 million. I thought he got an extension like maybe a year ago now.
Yeah. I
But
just don't know.
because he was hurt for so long.
And I like Thibault, but I don't know. He's not I mean, he's a great defender, but he's not a point guard, and you're not really getting a point guard back in this deal.
No, and he's not really a great shooter either. I mean, he's hovering around 35 from three, which is not. You need a 3 and D. You don't just need a D.
Yeah, it's just, and I'm sure it's on low volume. I'm sure he doesn't shoot that much.
Yeah, not really. I mean, yeah, I watched him in college, and he was obviously very good on ball defender, but
right. So
I think we have some of those.
Another Bulls one. We can skip on all of that. Another Charlotte one, which is a little bit ridiculous because there's no way Charlotte's giving up Brandon Miller.
Yeah.
Where was it? this one, which I love Zach Lowe. He's a great reporter, but this is a tough trade. I mean, John Collins, Bogey, and then you get Brooke Lopez or Derrick Jones Jr. And I love
Mm,
Derrick Jones Jr. I will take him any day of the
mm,
week, but not. And then it says a pick, maybe two. You better be getting two in this trade
yeah, at
because
least.
that's bad. Bogey's washed. He's looked horrible this season.
Yeah.
And John Collins is good, but he's typically an empty statter, um,
Hmm.
which he just gets numbers, and then they don't on teams that don't win, which is kind of what he's doing right now. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like it that much at all.
Yeah, I don't see that either. And yeah, I agree with that statement. I don't think you're getting three unprotected picks for Anthony Davis right now, and that's okay. I don't think we
Yeah,
have to have that, but we have to have something, and it's got to probably be two firsts, and it's got to be a starting caliber player, maybe another role player, and I think I'd be interested in that.
oh for sure. And I think one of those players needs to be a point guard, a legit point guard, not somebody who's like transitioning and one,
Yeah,
whatever.
I
I
mean, you
think
could even get rid of Russell too if you could.
well,
That'd be nice.
yeah, I think Russell might be on the outs, but I think it's hard because you need to make sure you can replace him, which is easy to do, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
So,
mean, just play Brandon Williams some more.
which they are. They started him last game, and
I
so I think
know.
they're going to start him again.
I'd rather do that and try and.
He's just
I
not a
never thought was.
playmaker.
I know. I mean, he's not the best option, obviously, but if you can get a guard back, sure, that sounds reasonable. Obviously, Kobe White would be really nice.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I think Kobe White. I think that Chicago deal is probably the better one. I mean, they've had some deals where they're like, oh well, we should go to, Golden State is a great fit for Davis, and it's like, yeah, that's a great fit for Davis, but what are we getting back? Because I don't want Jonathan Kuminga,
yeah,
and I don't want Moses Moody, and what do I don't
yeah,
know.
they're not getting rid of anybody else. So
They love Pods up there, which I don't quite understand. I mean, he's a good player. I think he does a lot of stuff, but he kind of disappears from time to time, and he's not a point guard. So I
yeah,
don't
I
know.
don't think they have probably a lot of first round picks
Um,
available.
no, I don't think so. And a lot of people are like, "Well, we'll add." Maybe they'll be tired of Draymond, but like they're not getting rid of Draymond.
Nah, I don't
And
think
nobody
he's
want. I
leaving.
don't think anybody wants Draymond. He fits a very particular
Yeah,
box, and he fits so well in Golden State. And also, he came out and ripped the Mavs after the Nico firing. He
I
came out and
bet
was
he
like,
did.
"How
Yeah,
how dare they?" and this and that, and it's like, whatever, man. Like,
yeah. I
he's
mean,
no
he's
good.
right. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong was said.
I guess so. I don't know. He had a lot to say about how the we didn't let the team show what they could do. And it's like, well, are you not listening to yourself? That's the problem. Is that the team is
Yeah,
never going to be out there healthy enough to show what they can do.
yeah. I mean, I guess maybe from a player's perspective, it might feel different, but I don't really see it that way. So
I don't either. I don't know, but I'm interested to see what they do. I think they do move on from Davis before the trade deadline. I like Patrick Dumont's new hands-onness, I guess, where he's already being like, "Hey, Anthony Davis," because apparently Anthony Davis medical team said that they wanted him to play this
hmm.
past game Saturday, and he was like, "No, I want a full report of this diagnostic test or whatever that
Yeah,
will say whether or not he has any um, possible chance to hurt his Achilles or calf again.
yeah,
And if he comes back clear, then he'll play. If he doesn't, then he won't." Which I'm appreciative of that. I think
yeah.
that's
I
great.
mean, it's you got to protect your asset right now, and I think he's tried to take responsibility in some sense of letting the trade go through and approving it and realizing, okay, yeah, this isn't what people wanted, and it's not looking great, so let's pivot. And I
Yeah,
think that's a step you have to take.
for
So
sure.
it's good that that happened, but obviously in hindsight, you wish you would have made a different decision. But I
Yeah.
think that's what we need to do to protect him. To even if he doesn't play for a while, I'd rather it be that, and then we trade him before the deadline to get somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, definitely keep an eye on it because it's interesting. And fantasy wise, it's kind of fascinating to see where he goes, who the Mavs get back, um, kind of how that affects different players.
Hmm.
Really interested to see. I hope they keep PJ. PJ's playing awesome.
Yeah.
He's, second highest fantasy points per game on the team. So, like, that's awesome.
Hmm.
Would never have expected that. But yeah, he does a little bit of everything, which is great. So hopefully they
Now,
can.
from a fantasy perspective, would you be looking to trade for Anthony Davis?
No, I mean, I don't know. Like, yeah, it depends on what you can get. I guess he's still a dominant force when he plays. He's still 25 and 10 and 2 blocks or 25 and 12 and 2 blocks. Like,
Yeah,
fantasy wise, he's going to produce. He's not producing winning from the Mavericks, but
sure.
um,
But would you, obviously, you probably would have to give a little bit to get him. But
yeah.
with his injury history, I mean, you interested in throwing somebody a player for him? Maybe two?
Yeah, I think I'd be. It's just hard. Like, I have Shingun on my fantasy team, and I don't think I'm giving Shingun up for Davis. I mean, I just think
Yeah.
health wise, he's so much better. But like, maybe you can talk them into a guy like. I mean, we're gonna talk about him here. We can we can go ahead and go into our next segment, the cop.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, cop shop drop. We can talk about our shops real fast. Like, I think
Nicely
that I
done.
would I would talk about Embiid. Maybe if somebody wants to. I know Embiid's health issue is not as good as Davis, but he's playing right now every couple
Hmm.
games. You know, he's hurt. He's missed the last, I think, 2 games, but when he does play, he's getting you 50 points a game or whatever it is. 40. I guess he's averaging 41.5, but he's gotten 50, I think, the past 2 games.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm just maybe you can talk somebody into that who's like tired of seeing Anthony Davis on the bench,
Yeah.
not playing.
No, I think I mean, that's a good segue into that because, I mean, we're looking at shopping people at the right time, right? So it's players that may be doing well right now that you think will fall off, or
Yeah,
uh, even players that maybe they're injured right now, or ideally we're looking for people that are playing so that we get some sort of statistical backing to it rather than just speculation on what could be. So
yeah,
I think Embiid, looking at his numbers across the board right now, they're up higher than they were to start the year, which is what you want. And
right.
you have the ability to market him as a player that's playing at least every other game. And when he plays, look what he does. His points are back up, his field goal percentage is up, free throws are up. I mean, pretty much everything across the board. Steals and threes are about the same.
Yep.
I mean, he's still got room for improvement too. I mean, he's only shooting 33 from three and 47 from the field. So we know when he is healthy and playing well, he can blow that out of the water. So
Yeah,
I mean,
and if
that
you
seems like a pretty good candidate.
yeah, and if you believe in like for me, I believe in the fact that the Sixers have moved on. I mean, that
Hmm.
team just plays so well without him on the floor, and they're flying around and they're moving, and Tyrese Maxey looks amazing. And it looks like
Hmm.
he's ready to step in and be the number one guy for them. Um, I think they're gonna. I'm a believer that they're gonna move him. They're gonna move Embiid,
Mm.
and wherever he goes, we'll be committed to him because obviously they're gonna have to give up a lot because he's making like $50 million a year or something, so maybe more. Um, so like I think that they're going to commit to him, and he could have a higher volume wherever he goes. And so that's
Mm.
another reason you could talk somebody into trading for Embiid. It's like, well, you never know.
Yeah, I think that would have to be your selling point because I mean they're always going to have that injury concern. I think it's going to be in the back of their mind. But if you show, hey, here's what he's doing right now, and yeah, it's I mean even every other game, he's still probably outperforming the worst player on your team, if not
Yeah.
on an average basis at least for the week. So and if he does start to, it seems like he's healthy. He's got some sort of knee issue that's not structural right now, but if
I
you can
think
get somebody that believes that they will move him, that's probably your best bet.
I think the Sixers are just super careful with him, and they have to be. They've been burned so many times that
Yeah.
you have to be careful with him. So maybe if he goes to another team now, I don't know. I mean, they're smarter than me, but maybe they think they're thinking the opposite. They're like, well, we got this guy. We want him to be the focus of our team because he's that good. But
Hmm.
I don't know why the Sixers are sitting him. He's healthy. Like maybe they play him more. But then again, you have a chance for that to burn you. So that's why honestly, that's why you don't want him on your team. Like,
Yeah, and that's why I stayed away from him was I just didn't want to have to deal with all that even if he's
no,
putting up, his 50, 60 fantasy points a game, which is great. To me, it may be every other game or it may be you get a good stretch of 15, 20 games and then he's hurt again or something. So I think just opted to not have to deal with that. But I think if you found yourself drafting him in the 6th or 7th round and it wasn't costing you as much, and now's time to put on your acting, face and try to get him off your team, because I don't think it's going to get a whole lot better, I guess is the way I'm thinking. And
Right.
I mean, he's averaging 20 something points a game now and closer to 5 rebounds, couple assists, and some threes. So I mean, he's producing. So I think at this point, any production like that is probably not sustainable. That you got to get rid of him if you can.
Well, and you have to think also Paul George is coming back, who's
Yeah.
typically taking more of his shots away from Embiid. So I think that hurts his value even more. So
Hmm.
kind of in a rough spot for Embiid. But the second guy is also on your list. It kind of goes with your criteria of guys that are outperforming what you think they would do,
Hmm.
and that's Keontae George. And he's had a great start to the season. He benefited, I think, a lot from injury.
Mm.
With Collier not playing the beginning of the season, he's playing now, but not the beginning. And then also, I don't think Will Clayton was playing, or
Yeah.
not Will Clayton,
Will
Walt Clayton Jr.
Walter Clayton. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so he wasn't playing at the beginning of the year, but now he is too. So I think definitely assists are going to go down for him, which is a big number that he had.
Hmm.
So I think he overall his fantasy points per game looks really good right now, and so
Hmm.
you can get somebody to bite on he's averaging 35 fantasy points a game, like that's awesome.
Yeah.
Let me
And he's been up
let
in
me
the
look it up.
40s for a little bit too. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think we caught him at just the right time, because you've got enough backlog to show like, oh yeah, he's been popping off, and he has. But you're also, I think we're seeing the very beginning of the decline. His assists for the year were hovering at about 8, and the last 2 weeks he's at about 7. His points are slightly down. Nothing percentage wise is super concerning, but he's always been a kind of high volume, inefficient shooter. So, people kind of know what they're getting there in the low 40s and then in the low 30s for three. Um,
Yeah, I just don't see his field goal numbers staying at 15. Like I just think that
yeah.
these guys, Walter Clayton, he's a shooter.
Hmm.
Isaiah Collier is a passer, so maybe he can benefit if he plays more with him than Clayton. But um, and Markkanen's starting to step up more than he had been before. So I think overall you're going to see his attempts go down.
Yeah. And I mean, you've watched the last couple games of them. I mean, Ace Bailey's
Yeah,
finally coming around a little bit. I mean, he's
he's
been
starting to
more
bang.
efficient to where his numbers look a little better than they are probably, but it seems like he's warming up to where you might want to start looking at him in some leagues rather than, holding on to somebody like George, when you can probably get a decent player for him in return and market him. He's got good numbers to fall back on to where you're not, he hasn't had any rough games necessarily lately. It's just been kind of a slow decline the last 2 or 3 games to where I think this is probably the time to do it. Not that he can't get back to what he was doing, but I just don't see that as likely as, you know, moving on to somebody that you might be able to buy low on, or somebody that's a better value.
Yeah, we can kind of move on to the more positive side of this talk, and you can use him because he averages like we talked about. He's averaging about 35 to points fantasy points per game.
Mm-hmm.
You may be able to look at somebody like next guy on our list, Norm Powell, who's on the up, who's
Mm-hmm.
averaging less fantasy points than he is
Mm-hmm.
right now, and throughout the season has produced more. But I think Norm Powell only goes up from here because he had such a great season last year, and he's kind of doing the same things in
Mm-hmm.
Miami that he did in LA. So I think that you could easily try to convince somebody to do that swap if they
Yeah,
aren't quite paying attention to the numbers.
I think so as well. I think you picked him out, and I think he's definitely, I mean, just coming back from injury too. So some of that's
Yeah.
probably just some rust from shaking that off. And I mean, his numbers really aren't that far lower than his season numbers, but
No.
nobody's going to see that unless they're doing the deep dive into it. I mean, it's really the rebounds and assists that have dropped almost in half for the rebounds, and then assists a little down, steals and blocks a little down. Points, everything shooting wise is about the same. So it's just some of those extra numbers I think that will rise, especially as he's getting back into playing shape. That I haven't seen any dip in any sort of free throws have gone up slightly, and shots are about the same. So I see him as somebody that's going to continue to grow in volume and probably minutes as well.
Well, yeah, and if the Heat are definitely, I don't know if they're buyers, but they're not. I think they're likely to make moves.
Mm-hmm.
So if a trade we didn't talk about with Anthony Davis, but a lot of them are talking about the Heat maybe moving for Davis and like maybe Hero. If you can snag that, pull that off, that opens up even more for Norm Powell,
Mm-hmm.
just minutes wise and production. I think because then he
Yeah.
becomes almost your second. I mean, you'll have Davis and Bam, but then like Powell's your perimeter guy. You're gonna need
Mm-hmm.
him to shoot the ball, so that way things don't get clogged up. And I mean, shooting 45% from three right now, I mean, he can do it.
Yeah. But I think they're showing too that Jaime Jaquez is
Yeah,
playing quite a bit as well, but so is Powell. So I don't think
yeah.
they're
They
cutting into
don't.
each other's minutes as much
They,
as I think they're taking it from Jovic more so.
yeah, I think Jovic is definitely and he's gonna play about more, obviously more, but I think Duncan Robinson and Jaime Jaquez played a lot together last year
Mm-hmm.
for the Heat, and so Norm Powell just steps into that Duncan Robinson role, and Robinson goes to Detroit. But
Mm-hmm.
so I think he has no issues. They don't step on each other because they play different
Yeah.
games. Like Jaime Jaquez is not a stand. He can shoot threes, but he's not like a sit out there and wait and get threes type of
Yeah.
guy. Where Norm Powell kind of is that way. He can do more, but like for the most part, he is catch and shoot. He's
Mm-hmm.
efficient that way.
Yeah, and
Um,
he's always been a good scorer in that sense. So I think they need that, especially with Hero out, and Bam's been kind of banged up lately as well. To where, I mean, especially in the short term, I think Powell's a great pickup if you can snag him.
yeah, for
But
sure.
rest of season, it seems like that role isn't changing for him as long as he's healthy. He's going to have those minutes unless they totally shake it up and, like you said, they trade Hero or somebody that I don't think they're moving Bam, but they probably would move Hero out of anybody, and I don't necessarily think they'll do that, but
No.
if they did, I still don't think that they'd be bringing in another wing. They'd probably be bringing in a guard or
Yeah.
some sort of star that
Davion Mitchell's been playing good though for him.
he's been kind of up and down. I mean, he
And they
started off hot, then he was down, but now he's back to where he was. So
and then they had the rookie Yakachonis.
yeah, he hasn't even seen the floor yet.
He's not
I'm
he's
like,
not playing very much, but
I know, but I want them to give him some time because I think he can be a facilitator for him.
yeah, yeah. Um, Second guy on our list here is a totally different situation, and if you can find it, it's hard to put this guy on the cop list. I kind of danced back and forth whether I want to. It's Jalen Duren.
Yeah.
He's just playing so well, and he's taken that step forward in his career, and it's showing on
Hmm.
defensive stats. And he's got, his rebounding is insane. His efficiency is good. It's up 67%
Yeah.
from the field, which is awesome. I mean, he's never going to shoot threes, but like that's not what you're asking him to do.
Yeah, literally, he's never shot a three.
No, no, never. But I mean, almost 14 rebounds a game, a steal, and almost a block. That's
Guy, is this Dwight Howard?
Yeah, this guy's playing great.
Reincarnate? What's going
Yeah.
on?
Shoulders,
Man.
man. It's the shoulders.
Yeah, that picture he sent me of him, like, oh wow.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
and I agree. I didn't push back on it because I feel like if you can get him, I do think he's going to continue to, maybe not at this level, but compared to his season numbers and some of his career numbers, like you can see some of the improvement just watching him. And so, yeah, he's not going to get you 22 and 22 every night like that one game, but I think they're showing that he's definitely a focal point of the offense with Cade. And I think
I mean,
whatever you have to shop to get him may not be somebody like Anthony Davis or somebody that's, kind of a first, second round pick. You might be able to package somebody like Keontae George and another quality contributor just for Duren.
you may be able to talk him into Embiid. If Embiid
Yeah.
starts stringing together a few games in a row, and for a fact, I mean, everybody knows if you're following the NBA that Embiid's bound to miss a few games.
Hmm.
I'd rather have Duren, who's going to play every
Yeah.
game basically and produce the way he's producing, 51 points per game, fantasy points per game.
Yeah. I mean,
sign me up for that.
he was in the upper 30s last year, and so
Mhm.
even the short run, maybe of 5 to 10 games where he's in the 50s, like that's definitely improvement. And so if he regresses even some, down to the low 40s, you're still getting a quality player, like you said. He hasn't really had any injury history other than some ankle stuff and
Yeah.
concussions, but I would like to do that deal if I can. So I feel like leaving him on if you can cop him for not a hefty price, what his 51 point average might be marketing, then that would be a job well done.
Or you can have somebody buy it on bigger name. That's
Yeah.
always the thing. You just find somebody who wants to. And even if you kind of convince that you give up a little more as a big name, and then
Hmm.
you kind of get Duran and a smaller guy, then you really you could really move up in your league with
Yeah,
that kind of move.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, Doug has him in our league and he's
He's
never
never
moving him.
moving anywhere.
He's had him like 3 years in a row, I feel like. So,
He's got a good stack there of Cade and Jalen. It's
yeah, he
tough
does. He does. So, I mean, the wins haven't been coming for him, but I think that's more just a
for
reflection of
Doug.
injuries. Yeah, for Doug.
Yeah, not the
Oh
Pistons.
no.
They're number one in the East right now,
Yeah,
so
they're killing it right
they're
now.
playing great,
I love
which I
to
love
see
to
it.
see. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say I love to see. I love Cade, and that team is built well and built right. So I
Yeah.
like it.
I think that one note on the Pistons, that was probably the best finals I've ever watched. Was 2005.
Oh yeah,
Well, maybe not the best ever, but
four,
it was
four or
2005
five.
when they not when they won, when they lost to
Oh,
the
when they
Spurs
lost. Oh, okay.
and they went to 7 games. That was a hell of a series.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of other ones that are better, but that was one
I
of my
mean,
favorites that I watched.
yeah. I mean, it is an all timer for sure. I love.
As far as a back and forth, like,
Yeah.
7 game type, maybe the 13 Heat Spurs as well, but
Yeah.
or the Lakers 2010.
I just think I always have a soft spot for one of my favorite players of all time is Tayshaun Prince. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I just
Oh, I
man, I
loved
just
him that
love that
year.
guy.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
smooth.
yeah, smooth. The length. The block on Reggie Miller is iconic.
Yeah,
From getting to he's at Reggie Miller's like at the free throw line, and he's almost at half court, and he catches him. Like, oh
yeah,
man, it's
yeah.
great.
That team was. I mean, obviously they didn't win it, but with the Wallaces and
Yeah,
Rip Hamilton and Billups, and man, they were stacked.
that was crazy. It
That
was
was fun.
wild. Ben
But that's the
Wallace is
last
fun to
time they've
watch.
done that, So it's like
Yeah,
good for the Pistons 20 years later.
it's almost the last time they were relevant. I
Yeah,
mean, God, like,
I
they had
know.
Blake Griffin to get into the playoffs once, but they were
Hmm.
first round out. I mean, that's
Yeah.
gotta love it. Detroit needs something in life, so give them the Lions and the Pistons, and maybe they'll stop
Yeah,
shooting each other.
I hope so.
Um, so now on to the more depressing side of things.
Well, there's a long list of people we could have chosen
We
for
could have
this,
chosen a
unfortunately.
lot.
Yeah.
So unfortunate for these two guys, they won that lottery.
Yeah.
Uh, the
But I
first
think,
guy we'll talk about is I think Herb Jones. He's kind of
yeah,
these are our drops. Just
yeah.
absolutely don't want him on the team.
Well, I think to qualify the drops a little bit too, like obviously there's some very obvious drops that,
Yeah, right.
we don't necessarily have to talk about, but people that you probably drafted or rostered at some point that maybe you're still hanging on to them and you're like, oh, they're going to figure it out. Those are the kind of the players that we're looking for in this range to where they're rosterable. You could keep them if you want to, but let's look at their numbers and see what's going on and why we think you should get rid of them. And Herb Jones, unfortunately, is that guy almost to a T to me, just because
You
30
did draft
minutes a
him.
game. I did draft him. Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately. And
Good
thankfully
job,
already
Tony.
dropped him. I'm 2 weeks ahead,
There you go.
but his numbers are supporting that. And I think even with Zion being out the last 5 games or so, Poole being out a game or two, he's getting the volume. He's got 30 minutes. His minutes the last couple weeks are slightly higher, as are his, field goal numbers even. He's shooting 52% from the field, but his free throws are abysmal. He's not getting to the line at all, half a free throw a game. And his 3-point number is great. He's shooting 48%. He's just not shooting that many. He's making 2 a game. But essentially all he's out there to do is play defense and shoot threes, which we knew. But if he's not going to get the volume that he needs to be sustainable at that, then it's just not worth it. I mean, he's averaging 10 points a game. That's not not what you need to be able to roster him.
But you were never gonna get points from him. I think if you drafted him late, and this is why he went
Yeah.
12th round, 13th, whatever. Like you were never gonna get a guy that was gonna give you points. You were kind of
Hmm.
just hoping that he was gonna get you 2, 3 steals a game and a block or two, maybe and not two, but like maybe a block and a half a game or so.
Yeah. Even 2 steals and a block, like that's
Yeah, that ra-
fantasy
that's
gold.
raising you. That's raising you 10 fantasy points, easy.
Yeah. Right.
So.
So if he gets it 10 points is fine, but you'd like it to push to maybe 12, 13 with another 3-pointer a game. But yeah, the steals and the blocks are just not there this year. I mean, the steals 1.4. That's a little under what you'd want, but
Yeah.
respectable at least. But the blocks, I mean, point 0.1 right now.
Yeah, he's only shooting 8 shots a game,
Yeah,
and he's making 2 threes, so 2 of them are threes.
exactly.
So he's just not. I mean, but that's not his role. His role is not to shoot, especially when Zion's there. If
Yeah,
Zion's there, he's really not going to get the ball because
yeah.
there's too many mouths to feed today. Not that they're good mouths to feed. There's just too many
But they're
mouths to
hungry.
feed there. Yeah, they're hungry. Like
Yeah,
Zion and Murphy and these guys. And when DeJounte gets back, he'll be that wet pool.
yeah,
And his guys they're just there's no room for Herb there.
yeah. Well, that's why I wanted to highlight him, and I'm glad that you picked him out because I think he's kind of the player that a lot of people will hold him because they think exactly what we thought going into the year. If that's what his potential is, and that's what he can do, which he can, but he's showing even now with people out, key contributors out, he's not the go-to guy, and he's not really contributing the ways that we want him to. So I think it's time that we move on from him and find another player that's. I mean, there's plenty of people on the wire that are playing that many minutes or at least producing a little bit more in slightly less minutes that you can look at.
I mean, if you got guys like if Cedric Coward's not picked up on your league, like pick him up.
Yeah.
You know, guys like that where they're younger but they're getting more volume shooting.
Yeah, fringe players are totally fine. That's why you stream them in and you drop them, and that's why I try not to get too attached to those guys because they might do well for you for a week or 2 games, and then it's like, all right, I like to have that at least one spot where you're just like, all right, I'm on to the next guy. I
Yeah,
can't be truffled with these
I mean
30-minute empty guys.
we talked about it earlier, but Brandon Williams, if he's only rostering like 3% of leagues, but he's starting for the Mavs now, and he's a microwave scorer. He'll get you points in bunches and a few assists here and there, but like somebody like that can be better than Herb, I think right now.
Yeah. Well, who's your other guy you put on there?
The other guy I put on there is Ayo Dosunmu, who is kind of dependent on what if the Bulls are going to make a move with
Mm-hmm.
White. I think he struggled already
Mm-hmm.
before White's gotten back, and I can only see him getting worse when White gets back,
Yeah.
especially with the way Giddy's playing, where Giddy's kind of just taking over that ball handler dominant role. I just don't. I think him and White overlap way too much, and they're gonna choose White over him.
Yeah. And that's
And
kind of
so,
why I thought White was going to be moved sooner than this, and we'll see if he gets moved. But last year they talked a lot about moving him,
mhm.
and I was kind of surprised they didn't and I think that was kind of before Giddy started to play really well. And, he kind of hit his stride after the All-Star break. And I think maybe that has shifted some of the Bulls' perspective, especially coming in this year. Obviously, he's continued that run into this year. And, uh, Dosunmu was a little banged up to begin the year, but now that he's back and he's had pretty good backlog of games, I mean, his career numbers are kind of better than what he's been putting up this year so far. And he has, like you said, an elevated role until White gets back, and it's just not supported with enough volume or efficiency to really matter.
Yeah, and I just don't know. Like his 3 point percentage is down. I mean, 37% is still pretty good. Um, so if he can, maybe I guess if he can keep that up, but one 3 pointer a game?
It's
That's
pretty
one
pretty
to
low
two.
volume. Yeah, the numbers can
And
be a little bit tricky
deceiving.
there, but
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, but again, a lot of his shots that he's taking are either at the rim or 3-pointers. So
But
his numbers are slightly elevated because of
even
that.
with him, it's interesting that his 3 point attempts or not or makes or whatever is not that high, not as higher than they should be.
Hmm.
Because opposite of Herb Jones, who doesn't have a point guard to get him the ball ever, so it's like not he has two.
Yeah.
right now. And like Trey Jones is playing great, and Josh Giddey is a pass first guy.
Hmm.
So you're still not able to get open and do these catch and shoots. Maybe the coaching staff doesn't trust you. I don't know. So like, there's a lot that goes into this, but I think given all of that, I think that he's an easy drop for somebody.
Yeah, especially when, I mean, like we said, elevated role, and his assists, steals, and blocks are all slightly up, and so we only expect those to dip, and his shooting to dip slightly.
Yeah, I mean, but even with his assist at 4, that's pretty good. I don't know for a shooting guard. Yeah, you
I
expect
think,
maybe a little more,
yeah,
but that's fine. But you need to score more if you're gonna, if you're gonna lack assists, you need to score.
yeah,
But his steals and assists, I mean, he was only expected point 0.6 and point 0.1, and he's getting point 0.2 blocks and one
yeah.
steal.
He's
So
basically doubling his defensive numbers, and it's still
not
just
good.
not enough. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I feel pretty comfortable moving on from him to. There's plenty of guys coming back from injury pretty shortly that may be available. TJ McConnell comes to mind,
Oh yeah.
and he's going to be a lot more efficient and get you more defensive stats than that, have more minutes. So you look at him.
I mean, Nimhard. Nimhard, I don't know. A lot of people lost faith in him with his injuries at the beginning of the year. I know that. I think. Do you have him on your team still, or did you drop him?
I do, yeah, no, I have him. I'm
So,
still ready to trade him to you, but
I mean,
I think you lost the faith in it.
I did. I lost faith in him for a little bit. So maybe you can try to see if you make a move with somebody who has him.
Yeah,
Because I think he only goes up. So it's just kind of interesting to see. But
yeah,
I think that covers the 6 guys that we think you should look at getting, look at moving, and just quit on. I mean, ultimately.
yeah.
Uh,
The acronym or the sound of cop, chop, and drop sounds much better, but
yes.
it's a lot to say. It's I need
It's
to
kind of a
shorten
tongue
it
twister.
somehow. A little bit, yeah.
Pretty good though. I don't know. I think it's short enough. I think it's good.
Yeah.
I just gotta get used to saying it.
The chat in the comments and see
Yeah,
what they think, and
please.
if we need to do more or we need to do less of these people, because I think we're giving out some pretty good intel.
Yeah, for sure. And we're open to any sort of comments. We've gotten a few that were a little bit critical of what we think.
We like that.
We love it. I mean,
We need the critical.
I'm down to debate about it. But thank you for listening, and we appreciate you being here. And please, as we said, like, subscribe, comment, do all the things. Follow us on all social media platforms.
Keep watching those
Especially-
shorts. They're blowing
Yeah,
up.
please, yeah, keep them moving around. No, but it's always fun.
Until next time.